Assalamualaikum, Selamat Sejahtera to all Malaysians and a very warm welcome to all our attendees from all over the world. Thank you for your interest and thank you for joining us. This is the MIHAS Knowledge Hub and we are very glad to host all of you here today from so many countries. We have put together a lineup of distinguished experts as we start conversations and connections across multiple sectors and disciplines on key drivers of the halal economy and export opportunities moving forward. We hope the sessions inspire new business ideas and bring real development and immediate activation. This is the final plenary session on trending topics. In our previous sessions, we have examined sectoral scenarios, opportunities and technologies that are likely to be part of the new normal. In the session before this, we delved deeper for mindset transformation. In this session, we look to the future. With great excitement, I would like to introduce the moderator for the session, Ms. Iman Ali Liaqat, Research Analyst at DinarStandard from UAE. Iman will be introducing our energetic panel and leading the lively session on young generation perspectives, where we engage the young generation on their perspectives of the halal economy. Over to you, Iman.
Assalamu alaikum, everyone. Welcome to MIHAS. Last but not least, session 13, Young Generation Perspectives. This is Iman Ali, your moderator for today, and I'm a research analyst at DinarStandard. I support the Islamic economy advisory work, including regional halal economy, Islamic social finance, and various innovation research aspects. The youth are the key drivers of the Islamic economy today. Generation Z, also known as Gen Z or post-millennials, are currently aged 16 to 24, while millennials, also known as Gen Z, are aged 25 to 40. Collectively, these generations have a very strong spending power, and they have tended to spend more on consumer goods than they did post-COVID-19. For instance, in the United States, millennials and Gen Z's spending has increased by 125% since the post-COVID-19. With that, we have with us four female entrepreneurs and influencers to discuss with us their views on the Islamic economy and what more do they expect from this halal space. Robin from Sweden, Dhira from Indonesia, Habiba from Nigeria, and Farida from Nigeria as well. Thank you, ladies, for joining us and welcome on board. I would like to first start with each one of you introducing a bit about yourself, what best describes you, and what work do you do in the halal space. So Farida, shall we start with you first?
Hello, assalamu alaikum, ladies. Thank you so much, Sister Iman, for the introduction. My name is Farida Yahya, and I am currently in Abuja, Nigeria. I am a social entrepreneur and an active citizen. My work revolves around helping female founders understand their business better and be able to create businesses that are scalable. So I work with early stage female founders. Thank you so much for having me. I look forward to the discussion.
Awesome. Thank you, Sister Farida. How about Dhira? Would you like to go next?
Assalamu alaikum. Thank you, everyone. And thank you, Sister Iman Ali, for inviting me. My name is Dhira. I'm from Jakarta, Indonesia. I am 24 years old. I am currently a graphic designer as well as a designer in Nur Zahra, which is a modest fashion wear. And we focuses on batik, which is Indonesia's traditional clothing as well as traditional culture. And I look forward to joining this discussion. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dhira. And since I have Robin next on my screen, why don't you go next?
Sure, I'll go. Assalamu alaikum, everyone. Thank you for the invite. My name is Robin Bukhamseen, and I'm from Sweden. I just recently got a bachelor in fine arts, and I'm currently starting up working as a video editor and hoping to get opportunities to work with Halal films.
Awesome, mashallah. Sister Habiba, how about you?
Assalamu alaikum, everyone. My name is Habiba Suleiman. I'm here in Nigeria as well. And I work as a manager, strategy and business development for a multinational company that's got businesses across Africa, the Middle East, and Asia. And like I said, food is one of our core value chains. We do several commodities. So obviously, halal is, a very key focal area for us and for me personally. And I'm very excited to be here. And I look forward to, hearing various perspectives on the subject. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you, Sister Habiba, for that lovely introduction. So moving on to our questions now. The first part of the questions are your views on the halal products and services. What does halal mean to you in terms of products? How do you define halal, for example, for food, cosmetics, or fashion? Does it require a halal certificate or logo, or do you have any other definitions? And I think I'll start with Sister Robin. What are your thoughts on this?
For me, I think it's important that, especially with food, that it's not just halal by saying Bismillah when you do the slaughtering. It should also be a good treatment of the animal throughout the life. That's something that's important for me. And that ties into other products such as cosmetica and clothes. That to be halal for me, it should not just be modest, it should also be a good treatment of the workers that have created the products. And I think it would be really good to have stamps that were kind of like fair trade, but like for halal, but it's been a halal process all the way for products.
Awesome, fair trade, that's the key here. How about you, Dhira, since you're coming from a fashion background as well? How would you define halal for fashion?
I have to agree with Sister Robin on this, especially in a way that modest fashion isn't really only about the fact that we have to cover our bodies and everything, but also it's in the process of it, the values, as well as how it is sustainable and how it treats the workers and all the people. And then it also needs to be transparent as in terms of production and everything, so that the consumers can actually understand what they are buying. So I guess that's really important. Thank you so much.
Right. And Sister Habiba, how about you, since you're coming from the food industry as well? What does halal mean to you or to the consumers around?
Yeah, so largely, there's got to be I think it's quite important to have those certifications, right? So since you've got limitations in terms of how you can actually vet the processing, it would be good to have, standard organizations that actually do certifications that you can trust. So for me, it's largely about seeing those certifications on products, that say they are halal, especially for food. And then for clothing, obviously, so maybe largely because we just have the kind of apparel that halal or Muslim women will obviously look for. That's not as what's it called? As grounded for me as when it comes to food. So I'm very conscious, obviously, when I travel to see where my food is coming from. And most times when you don't see those certifications, you're limited to things like bread and fruits, because you can't tell where the meat is coming from,
Right, makes sense. And Sister Farida, how about you? How would you define halal?
So yeah, I think the ladies did justice to it. And I believe coming from the hair industry as well, one of my focus points is about values, right? Being eco-friendly, being kind to the environment as you create your products. We already have terms for eco-certified and eco-friendly, so it'd be really lovely to have people also talk about, the halal stamp, like Sister Robin mentioned. However, I feel like that is going to require a lot of work from our part as people that are in the industry, and also look at what consumers are looking out for. Because fine, it's fair trade, it's eco-friendly, but then is it halal? Is the process, the values of the people doing the products, and also how they actually source this product, is it actually halal? So these are the kind of things I look out for as a small business owner. But I mean, in the large scale, you would want it to be more certified and really find a process of vetting these things.
Makes sense, makes complete sense. Now, moving ahead on the your COVID-19 shopping habits, because COVID-19 has actually changed a lot in our lives. So I want you ladies to raise your hands if you bought online for the first time during the pandemic. No? Okay, if I was to participate, I would raise my hands because I was the first. I really did this online shopping first time during the pandemic. Okay, great. So yeah, it's actually wow, because, you know, for me, especially living here in the UAE, I've just recently started using card. We are so used to cash. So that's my next question to you guys. So what do you prefer, cash or credit or card, and why? So who would like to go for this one? Sister Habiba, would you like to comment on this?
I mean, I would most likely prefer to use my card, right? Because you get to use it everywhere and you have it handy at every time. So, you know, and there's no limitations. So there's that factor where if you have your card on you, wherever you find yourself, you know, you can just pay for whatever you need to pay. However, because, you know, Nigeria, the environment is yet to be fully financially inclusive. You can still get to areas where you can't get to use your card. You need to use cash. So there's that factor as well. However, my preference would obviously to use my card in every transaction.
Right. And how about you, Robin, in the West? What's the trend there, and what do you prefer personally?
Here it is definitely mostly going towards cards. Some stores are starting to not accept cash anymore. I do like using cash, but yeah, card is king here, definitely, not cash.
Definitely. And I'm aware in Indonesia, you know, e-wallets is something becoming very prominent, especially among youngsters. Tell us more about that, Dhira. And have you tried e-wallets?
Well, in Indonesia, it's again mainly also we use card these days, especially in terms of e-wallets. We use it for everything. Like, for example, to buy delivery food and like groceries, or like shopping for fashion, or shopping for as small as like toiletries and everything. We always use e-money for that. So I guess it's starting to become much more, you know, it's everywhere. No one actually uses cash anymore, except on only like probably like mini markets where they don't really accept you to use cards if the thing that you're buying for is like under a certain amount. So yeah, it's these days it's been really cards. And my bank, for example, it's actually it's a card, it's a Visa card. However, it's not really like a credit card, which is like so it's like a debit card, but it is a Visa. So I guess that's kind of the best of both worlds for me, because I don't really like the concept of credit card, because I have to like pay later and like spend the money that I don't have. So I personally prefer that having, you know, spending money that I currently have and I already have. So I guess that makes me more, I get to save a lot more as well on that. So yeah.
Yeah, makes sense. And you know, as a matter of fact, I've heard that it's a psychological thing as well. If you have cash, you tend to spend more.
Yeah.
I mean, you have the urge to spend more if you have cash in your wallet. Great.
Agree.
Now, moving on, you know, travel is something we all love to do, and we are missing out that during this pandemic as well. So starting from you, Sister Farida, if you were to travel now for vacation, where would that place be?
Okay, so it's a very interesting question for me because I love to travel. Like, I mean, I feel like I always have a suitcase packed. All I need to do is change the clothes depending on the destination. I really wanted to travel to the UK for summer. But then when I factored in all the, you know, COVID testing, all the quarantine days and everything, I was like, no, I'd rather just wait. So yeah, definitely, if I could travel right now, I would definitely want to visit the UK because I haven't been in a while, and it's a place that I love to go to rest and relax. Yeah.
Oh, awesome. And I want to take each one of yours thoughts on this as well. Sister Habiba, how about you? Where would you travel?
Okay. So, I mean, here's something that makes me very happy when I go to hotels, right? And then I see that they have the Qibla sign. you know. I mean, it goes a long way when you see that people make those little efforts or make those little, you know, or have those little considerations for the fact that you're Muslim. You need to know where Qibla is, you need to know where the mosque is. All of these tiny things, you know, help a long way. Obviously, now with the spate in, you know, Islamophobia and stuff around the world, obviously you want to be very careful where you're traveling to, you know, because you need to maybe culture of these people and how they treat people that are not people they're very familiar with. So these are things obviously that I would be very conscious about when I'm traveling.
Definitely. And yes, Robin, your thoughts on that?
Yes, I think since I'm living in a country where Muslims already is a minority, I think I'm already always very like in the mindset of double checking halal and what I'm eating, or so I think it doesn't change so much when I travel because I do it anyway in my daily life. I just continue doing the same thing when I travel.
Great. So moving on, let's talk about your fitness habits and, you know, consumption of supplements during COVID-19. Did you tend to be taking more supplements and, you know, perhaps change in your fitness habit during the COVID-19 pandemic? Anyone is free to answer this if it did change your habits.
Yeah, so I mean, for me, it did change, Iman, because I was worried that I was sitting around too long. You know, at the beginning, during the lockdown, there's a lot of panic. So a lot of people were panic eating. I was one of them. So I started to worry that I was eating too much and I needed to do a lot of fitness. So I actually started to walk every evening. I would walk for an hour or two just to, you know, get my, you know, muscles working. I didn't really do a lot of supplements, but I tried to eat a little healthier, just to boost my immune system because there was a lot of fear and you needed to, you know, eat better just in case you got COVID. So yes, that was the change for me.
All right. I'll take one more response. Anyone else?
Okay. For me, usually when it's, before COVID, I usually just commute around. We usually take the MRT or like going around like malls and like meetings after meetings. So that requires a lot of walking, which because of COVID, we don't really have to walk anymore anyways. So I tried to incorporate afternoon jogs because I have a backyard in my home, so I don't really have to go out. And as well as I've been really I've been doing yoga too in my own room. That is really one of my go-to super easy workout. And because we are also working at home, we need a lot of more vitamin D. So I've been taking vitamin D as for like the supplement too.
Oh, that's awesome. That's a great fitness routine, I must say. Awesome. So moving on, name the one important decision factor when purchasing clothes or accessories, for example, such as, you know, brands, or do you look for discounts, free shipping, appealing photographs, or even, you know, feedbacks from others? So what's that one factor you look for in purchasing things? Robin?
I think if I have to say only one, I think it's going to be a good price, actually.
Okay, great. And what else if I say a few more?
If there is more, then also I would say the style, if it's appealing to me, and when there's fast free shipping, it's also something really nice.
All right. And Sister Farida, how about you?
Yeah, so for me, I think it's also I really like the free, you know, clothes that are not so heavy because of the weather, because it can be quite hot. So I look at the fabric. I have to make sure that the fabric is not something that's heavy, but is also not see-through, because I'm not so big on like wearing like multiple layers. I like to just wear, you know, what I'm wearing and just go. I also like the sleeves to be long because I put my scarves are really short most of the time, also because of the heat. So I look out for the sleeves to be long as well. So those are the two things that I look out for.
Awesome. And I'm sure Sister Dhira already sketched a good dress for you, Sister Farida. How about you, Dhira, since you're coming from that industry as well?
Actually, for me, in terms of my personal shopping preference, if we're talking about buying fashion, I rarely buy clothes anymore. Even though like I'm super exposed in the fashion industry, I mean like I'm very active in the fashion industry and I tend to read a lot on fashion and everything. For me, I usually just buy secondhand or like use like I scavenge through my mom's closet. I'm not really big on buying. Usually the online shopping here is mostly, I can't really say all of them, but mostly it's fast fashion if we're talking about like a big brand. However, like small businesses, there are a lot that are up and coming, and some of these businesses are my friends' businesses, so I know that where the product is made and how it's made, and I guess that just makes me feel much more better than whereas if I buy from fast fashion brands. So I think that's really important for me.
Great, and you've already answered our next question, which was actually on sustainable purchasing. So, how important is it for you to look for sustainable factors while purchasing your, especially your fashion brands? And I think I will start this question from Habiba. So, Sister Habiba, the question is basically, do you look for sustainable aspects when buying your clothes? Like, are you concerned how they're produced? Especially the fair trade that we were discussing in our initial talk?
Oh, obviously, yes. I mean, it will mean a lot. I remember there was some news about how most big brands actually go to very, LDCs to have like people do the work and then they come and sell at, inflated prices and stuff like that. I think it would be very important if there was a system where you could actually, people who did the work actually got fair pay for their work, like people who actually did the hard work, right? So it would be important if, for example, that kind of stamping or that kind of labeling was there, because obviously for me it matters, right? It matters who does the work, and it's quite important that they actually get paid for their work.
Agreed. And then my follow-up question is, are you willing to pay more for a sustainable product? Will you be willing to pay more? Sister Habiba, how about you?
Oh, most definitely, yes. Yes, definitely. Most definitely, yes.
Right. And I'll take this from each one of you. What are your thoughts? And in general, do you think these products should be high priced? And if they are, will you be willing to pay for them? Sister Dhira, how about you?
For me, yeah, I mean, it's totally important, especially these days when there are so many things up on sale every single day, and we need to remember and we need to check and think about the cost per use on that item itself, even though that, for example, like I would rather just be willing to buy something luxurious or like high end that I know it's gonna last a really long time, up to like years for me to wear. Whereas if I just wear something from like fast fashion, that'll wear up in like a few months. But then again, I think we should also remember that not everyone can afford these high quality pieces. There are lots of people that I know that would be willing to also, take part in the sustainability movement. However, they don't really have the budget to buy something nicer. So I guess, yeah, that's a tricky part, but it's really important for me.
Right. That was great thoughts on that. I think I'll move on to the next question, and this is more relevant to you, Robin, since you're coming from that media background and you're interested in videos and photography and social media. So tell us, how important is it for you to stay connected over social media? And which social media platforms would you prefer to use more, and why?
I think that social media is very important in a way. It is it is a way to spend your time and enjoy your time a bit, and also connecting with friends, especially in these Corona times. Social media is often the only way we can really meet each other. For me, I would say, and many of my friends in general, Instagram is the big one, but we use the most. I think it's just has to do with like that it's very visual and it's very easy to scroll like and just get stuck in scrolling and getting more and more recommendations.
Right.
Yeah, I think it definitely that one. I don't really. Snapchat is a little bit big also, but like mainly I would say Instagram is the one for me and my friends' generation.
Right. Awesome. And how about you, Sister Farida? How important is social media for you and the work you do, especially, connecting with young entrepreneurs?
Yeah, I mean, social media is literally the lifeline for what I do now, especially because, of course, COVID, we can't travel, right? So I meet and consult with my clients via social media. I make about 70 to 80% of my income comes from social media because people reach out to me on social media, people send me messages on LinkedIn, and then, of course, they're able to take the consultation fee and then they pay for it. So social media is huge for me. However, for me, the caution is just how to use it and also to be sure that you're also balancing it with your real life because it's something that can really suck you in and then you spend almost all your days online. So it's just knowing when to unplug, which is really, really important for me, and just take some time to do some self-reflection. Instagram is really the platform that I use a lot. I use my LinkedIn a lot as well, but Instagram is really big for me. I used to use Twitter a lot until the ban here in Nigeria, and it's just exhausting for me to start to do a VPN, so I'm just off Twitter for now. But yeah, Instagram is one I use a lot, and really the reason is just like Robin said, it's very visual, and it's easier for you to connect with people on that level because you can already see what it is that you want to do. And also Instagram is very video driven. So a lot of the videos are very explanatory. So that way you're able to explain, the courses and the coaching that you want to do, and people are able to connect to it easily as well. I tried TikTok for a while, but no, it didn't really work for me. So Instagram is, the platform that I use often. Yeah.
Great, awesome. And since we are talking about the work and environment, I want to move a bit towards your professional lives and your experiences in the professional world. So the question is, what do you struggle with work? What do you struggle with at work, or you fear that you might face, especially being women and especially being Muslim women? What are your fears in the work environment? Habiba, would you like to go for this one?
Sorry, you said what are our what in the work environment?
Yeah, what do you struggle with at work or you fear to struggle with? For example, inferiority or racism or things like that. Is there anything you have a fear with, especially being Muslim women in the work environment? And maybe we can give you some time to think over it. No problem. Yeah.
Well, I mean, maybe prior to now, right? I mean, I've been working for 9 years now or so, and I've obviously had to work across several organizations and all of that, and obviously experiences have been different. Now I feel like because I've probably grown in the system, I've learned and I've grown in lots of ways. But obviously prior to now I wouldn't say I have so much fears or challenges because I'm female and I'm Muslim. But prior to now, I mean, when I joined, so my first job was an investment banking job. And then, so obviously it's a very formal setting, and it's a very formal, very corporate wears and stuff like that. And you have to wear your hijab, you have to be modest and all of those sorts of things. Obviously there was that challenge because, you're always looking very different than everybody else. You go to meetings and you refuse to shake hands with males and all of these things, right? But for me, I think it was just very important to be true to myself and refuse to cower, and just maintain that, look, this is something I won't do. I wouldn't shake hands with you. I'm not allowed to do this. And obviously everybody around you just adapts, and it got to a point where I go to meetings with my boss and he's like, no, she doesn't shake hands, and he's not Muslim, but obviously I just feel like for us Muslim women, it's quite important to just hold on to your standards, whatever they may be. And everybody eventually just falls in line, really.
Wow, amazing. And how about you, Sister Farida, since you've been in the industry for quite a while as well? Have you faced any struggles at work?
So for me, thankfully, I mean, I made the decision from undergrad not to work formally. So I work in the informal sector, and I've been able to really choose the kind of people that I work with. I work mostly with women. 90% of my clients and partners are women. So I haven't really faced as much difficulty as Habiba might have, being in the formal sector. Yeah.
Yeah, interesting. How about you, Dhira? Since you've just started, how do you find the professional environment?
Well, for me, it's not really a challenge, I guess, because Indonesia is the majority of Indonesians are Muslims anyway, and fashion Muslim brands here are also very big. Even though we're like in the capital, actually, like the capital itself, it's like probably like the most modern, like most driven, in a way that there's lots of different opportunities for people that are Muslims and like women. So I haven't really faced any discriminations and whatnot. But I mean, I get that I feel like really lucky to be, a Muslim and a woman in Indonesia right now, because then again, I am the majority. I'm one of the majority, so I guess I have to be really grateful for that and to take that, as an advantage and be grateful for that.
Great. And Robin, we all are eagerly waiting to hear from you, since you are in Sweden, and how is your professional environment?
Yeah, it is a very homogeneous group, I would say, in the film industry in general, but especially maybe so in Sweden. People tend to be from a white middle class background. So I really stood out in my university, which I just graduated from. I was the only hijabi in the whole university. So there's definitely some challenges, and there's often a big culture and like cultural work of having parties after work a lot, and like a lot of like mingling between the genders and stuff. So it can definitely be a challenge to be a minority there and have to say that like I don't do that. I do the job, but I don't go to the after work party. And but I think Habiba said really nice, but like if you just go with your values, the people around you will adapt, and it's working. People understand like, oh, okay, she don't do that. We won't invite her to those kind of settings. So it's working.
Alhamdulillah, that's nice. That's great to hear. And now I have a question, not just professionally, but also personally. If you had the year again, 2020, if you had the COVID year again, maybe you don't have it, but if you did, what new would you want to do? There must have been some learnings, some things you wished you would have done. What would that be? Dhira, do you want to go for this?
Sorry, is it like, so we're going back to the year 2020 when COVID is still happening?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
And you wished, so now you wished you did something back then.
Mm-hmm.
What is that one thing that you know?
Oh, okay. Well, for me personally, I guess to quickly adapt to the lifestyle change that all over the world is facing right now. This is an international thing. This is a global thing. It's not really just like one country. So I guess this is a really big thing. And I would probably try to adapt a lot faster in a way that shifting my usual routine to my home routine, because as I said before, separating work life and my personal life while doing both at home is really challenging, and it can get like sometimes like I even like tend to work past like usual working hours because I'm at home anyway, so why don't I just like do a few bit more? And I guess that's really important, that I think that if I were to learn how to separate and do my time management a little bit more wiser, like more earlier in the quarantine or like lockdown era, I think it'd be much more beneficial for me, so that of course we're stuck here, but we still have to keep moving some way.
Yeah, definitely. How about you, Sister Habiba? If you had the year again, what is that one thing you would like to do?
I'm going to apologize for my background. It's raining very hard here, so maybe it's noisy. I don't know if you can hear that.
No, it's perfect.
But you can hear me, right? Okay.
Yes.
So what I would do, just like Dhira said, I would adapt very fast. I would not panic, right? And just, you know, it would have probably been nicer to just be relaxed and just accept that, look, this is what the world is now. And just look for ways to move on with your life, really. I think we spent a little bit more time worrying so much than actually just moving on with life. So, I mean, if something like this happens again, I think this was a huge lesson for all of us. We've learned so much. And we've learned that, you know what, things would happen, bad things would happen, but we just have to move on, you know. So obviously I would have not panicked. I panicked so much. I shouldn't have done that, you know. I was too careful and I had COVID actually. So, I mean, it didn't matter that I was super careful. I still was down with COVID. So, I mean, at some point, you're just like, you know what? It's not about how careful you are. Life just goes on, or life just has to go on, really. So, yeah.
Yeah. And we all know Sister Farida also had those panic moments, panic eating and stuff. So, Sister Farida, how about you, if you had the year again?
Yeah, I mean, I just have to agree with them. I think another thing also that I would have done differently was to really just have a positive mindset. You know, we hear this thing all the time, right? And even in the Quran, Allah assures us of that, right? With every hardship comes ease. But still, we're human. We get so stuck in the worry, right? So I think it's just to be able to adapt a positive mindset early, and also be able to, you know, find a way to work with the new reality as opposed to just complaining and worrying and panicking.
Yeah, agreed. How about you, Robin?
I would do more of something we mentioned earlier. I would have exercised more, because like going back now, I would know it's going to be long. I wouldn't let go of my exercising routine that fast as I did. Yeah.
Awesome. So now we were talking about moving back in our timeline. Let's move forward. Let's talk about the future. In an ideal world, what would you want to see more to fulfill your Islamic-themed media and recreation needs? Or let me rephrase this. What more do you want to see from the, you know, halal industry in terms of media, food, fashion? What new innovations would you expect from the industry to fulfill your needs? Dhira, how about we start with you? Maybe you can also talk about in terms of the fashion industry.
Can you hear me? I think it's a bit, okay. Can you hear me now?
Yes, perfect.
Okay. I guess for me, the ideal world would be that I would probably wish that, yes, we are different in a way that we need we need to be a lot more careful than non-Muslim people, obviously, in terms of, you know, what we eat, what we wear and everything like that. But I wish that it could be a lot more open to people that are not Muslims, in a way that they can learn a bit more about our culture and like our religion and everything. Not only like for non-Muslims, but also for like Muslims who are not quote unquote practicing behaving like, or like practicing what as Muslims needs to practice, but they can like learn a lot more, so that it's less. It would be great if the industry is less exclusive, in a way that we can learn more, and then we can like teach people a lot more about what we know and how and why is it like this, and how is it like this. So I guess in short, probably, for example, in the fashion industry, I would really like for brands and everything to, like, in Indonesia, we have a Jakarta Fashion Week, and we also have the Muslim Fashion Week, which is two separate things. But I would also like to have like one thing that's, you know, we're not that different. I mean, we can coexist with one another. I think that's the future. I think I would like to see that, us coexisting with everything else, but being respectful for each other without really like having to step back and like, oh, okay, we're Muslims, but we can't blah blah blah, or like, oh, you're Muslim, so you cannot be a part of this event. I think if we were to open up our minds and like just exchange ideas and discussions, and I guess that's in the long run, I think that's going to be much more beneficial for us as well.
Yep, makes complete sense. How about you, Robin? And then let's speak about the media sector as well. What would an ideal world look like to fulfill your Islamic themed needs?
I would like to see a lot more sustainability in general from different halal products, to have a sustainability thinking also and eco-friendly thinking. In terms of the media sector, I think it would be really great to have more more shows for Muslims, and there is like some cartoons, for example, for children, but they tend to sadly have very low means of production, so it's not so high quality. So I really hope that sector could expand and we could have more development for culture for children, especially for Muslim children.
Awesome, mashallah. And Sister Habiba, how about you, especially from the industry side? What do you think the halal industry should do can do much better?
Okay, so for me, right, I think it's very important that we move. There's so much, there's focus on halal certification for products, right? So, I mean, I remember I was in a meeting where there was some kosher organization that was trying to discuss kosher certifications. And then they were saying, like part of the market they intend to cover is the Muslim market, obviously, because if it's kosher, there's some sort of similarities with what Muslims would also go for, right? And that's largely because there's a gap on our own part. What are we doing as Muslims to actually make food accessible for many people? I feel like a lot of times you would avoid things that were halal because you were not sure or you didn't know, right? So for example, if there's some sort of cohesion at the top, and organizations actually come together, especially places like Indonesia, where it's a Muslim majority country, they can afford to do that. It will help a lot if that kind of system was in place, where companies, for example, can actually just go work with these organizations and get the necessary certifications to present their products as halal. Obviously, that would open more markets, right? So you can now access more Muslim majority countries. You can now access more market for your products. But I think it will help a lot, even for you, the individual that's Muslim. If, for example, you knew for a fact that things you were buying were halal, a lot of times we buy sausages that are chicken sausages, that's not halal certified. You just buy it because, I mean, what else can you do? You want sausages, right? But you don't know the processes it's being through and stuff like that. So it's very important, I think, at that level, that there's some sort of honing in on this issue. Really, it will help a lot. Food, food is a big industry, is a big sector. It will help if there's that focus on ensuring that people can confirm what they're eating is halal.
Awesome. Yes, awareness is a key. And now we are coming, there are technological advancements helping us consumers to get to know more about how food is produced. For example, the blockchain technology and things like that. They're very creative innovations. And I think our halal industry needs to adapt these innovations quick. Awesome thoughts there. And since we are getting closer to our end of the session, I would like to take this one from Sister Farida as well. How about you? What would an ideal world look like for you personally? And also because you're helping, young women get started in their businesses. So what is it that they look for? What are their needs that the halal industry should actually fulfill?
I think for me, I would come from the angle of financing, which is a big issue for a lot of women entrepreneurs. It's very, very hard to access credit the halal way. The non-interest banking is such a big issue. Even though we have non-interest banks here in Nigeria, the the rates that they're given are really high. So you're looking at 26%, for most instruments that are not even going to last you more than a year. So really, I would want in an ideal world for Muslim women to have access to finance that would help them grow their businesses, non-interest, profit-based, but also looking at how you can help them grow and scale. That is one thing that I feel is really missing in the halal industry. And, it's really something I'm honing on also to look at how I can be a part of it in the next 2 to 3 years. But I know that there are bigger organizations that can do it. I know I've heard of Qatar Foundation and other foundations trying to do that, but there's still a need for synergy. There's still a need to be able to get these women to really access this finance and help them grow their businesses. So that is really what I'm looking for in an ideal world, looking towards the next 3 to 5 years.
Awesome. This was great. And thank you, ladies. We've come to the end of our session. I want to truly thank you, Robin, Dhira, Habiba, and Farida for joining us and for being so cooperative and so patient. And really, your views and your suggestions were very valuable. We hope that the industry really helps from what you've put forward, especially since you have the experiences and lovely talk here. I want to thank our viewers for watching this session. And finally, thank you, MIHAS, NatTrade, and Salam Gateway for putting together this session. This was your moderator, Iman Ali. Take care. Assalamu alaikum.
What a refreshing and insightful session. What an optimistic and hopeful wrap-up for the last session of the day. For those of you who have been with us for the entire 3 days, thank you for your support. We hope this first ever MIHAS Knowledge Hub has provided enough inspiration and insight to fuel your next business steps. For those of you who did not manage to catch all the sessions, we hope you catch the replays of the sessions on the MIHAS virtual platform, which will be available all the way until end of December. Do check back from time to time as we continue to present interesting new topics and follow-up sessions over the next 3 months. If you have further questions for the speakers, do visit them at their virtual booths and further information and discussion. I'm Anita, and it has been an honor to walk you through the Knowledge Hub sessions. Thank you.